Morning Year 6 and welcome to a sequence of lessons on fractions. Yesterday you did your self-assessments in fractions. After you reviewed those, how did you do? What are you confident on? What do you need to do some more work on? Some of the fractions are from Year 5, so that would be some revision, probably from some time ago. I'm going to move straight on to the Year 6 fractions today. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, Year 6, before we begin, keep your standards high, please. I'm really enjoying seeing your dojos, and on the whole, the standards are very good. Just a few slips in minor things, but it makes all the difference. Date your learning, please. Make sure you have the learning objective. Underline both those things. Use a ruler every time you're drawing a line, and 1 digit per square, please. Make sure that you're self-assessing your learning using a purple pen if you have one. If you don't have a purple, use something other than your pencil colour. Make a learning comment. The learning comment is about the maths. So remember, it's not so much about, I enjoyed this, I found this hard. What you want to do is talk about what were you successful at? What did you find a little bit harder? What did you try in order to tackle that? And what might you need help with? Post a sample of your maths, and I'm going to suggest it's the highest step you achieved today. And then I get a real sense of how you're getting on, because part of what I want to do is to be able to assess your learning even from this distance, to support you and help you move on. Our review questions today are about equivalent fractions, and they're from Year 5 learning. I'm not doing a whole lesson on equivalent fractions, but if you need to revise that skill, let me know and I can send you a revision guide on equivalent fractions. So have a look at your self-assessment now and decide, do you need that, or are you in fact ready to move straight on? In terms of a guidance on how long you spend on the lessons, this lesson can be completed within 1 hour. So let's do our review section. First thing to note is this is a fraction wall. A fraction wall is really important in order to try and visually see what one fraction might correspond to when looking at an alternative fraction. And what you want to be able to do is simplify them. So you're going to find this really useful as we go through, and you may want to make a copy if you're able. Here's the review section. So after pausing for a short while, maybe using your fraction wall if you were able to print it, or a mathematical strategy. So if you look at the first question there, we have, just pick up a pen, we have here 4/10. Now simplifying it, 4 divided by 2 is 2. What do we do to the denominator? That's correct, divided by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now on this one, the equivalent fraction is we've taken the 1 and multiplied it by 3. That's right, because we noticed down here that the denominator was 3, a multiple of 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, 1 times 3 is 3. So what about this one? So we're going from 8/12. We've got this equivalence here. But we're now moving this way. So we've gone from denominator of 12 to a denominator of 3. What did you divide the 12 by? Therefore, what do you do with the 8? Okay, so 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Well done, self-assess your learning. So go into the explore section of our lesson today. Can you imagine what these fractions look like? So we've got 1 bar divided into 2 equal size parts, and it's the fact that equal sizes is particularly important. So what's the bar going to look like this time? Have a think. So we've got 1 bar and it's divided into 4 equal parts. 1 part is shaded. So if we look at this example, the 2 is telling us how many equal parts we have. The 1 is telling us how many shaded or unshaded, in fact. In this one, 4. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. We want one of them. 3/5. Have a think. So what's the bar going to be divided into? 5. So the denominator is telling us that the bar is divided into 5. Yep, I heard someone say absolutely. So it's 5 equal parts. What does the 3 represent? That's correct. It's the 3 equal parts out of the 5. So now we've got 3 out of 5. Same principle, be a little bit harder to draw. How many equal parts? So we're expecting 48. What does this represent? That's right, it's going to be the shaded parts. And if you've got very keen eyesight, you'll be able to count those up. Let's move on. There we go. In this case, get rid of the ink, which is in the way. We've got 1 bar, and this bar is the same length. Would you prefer, what should we have? Let's have a bar of chocolate. Would you prefer 1/4 of that bar or 12/48? So on the fraction wall here, we can see that 2/8 have been shaded in, and we're looking for any equivalents. Can you spot any equivalent fractions here? Now, because our lesson is focusing on simplification, can the 2/8 be simplified? There we go. So 2/8 can be simplified to 1/4. And we can use the fraction rule, or we can say, if we've got 2 in the numerator, divide that by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Use the fraction rule to simplify. Have a think. Pause the video. Have a think. Little tip, you can hold a ruler up to the screen. Count along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have a ruler, but if I go steadily, there we go. Can definitely simplify that to, what's that, 4/8. Can you go any simpler? So in this case, 5/10 could be simplified to 4/8, 3/6, 2/4. Is that the simplest form? No, the simplest form is 1/2. Now, whenever you see the top number, which is called the numerator, whenever you see that is half of the value of the denominator, you'll know you have a half. Let's look at the others. So the simplest we can make 6/10 is 3/5. 5/7. So 5/7 cannot be simplified any further. 5/7 is in its simplest form. So that's to say we can't find a number we can divide both of those by. What would be another way of thinking of that? Thinking about your learning of factors. So we go at the checkpoint, assessing your learning so far, simplifying fractions. Pause the video, have a think, show your workings out, and explain, please. Okay, how did you get on? Remember that you can rewind the video, have another look at it. So it's your turn to do some mathematics. Step 1, have a go at questions 1 to 3 on the worksheet. You feeling confident after your assessment yesterday of your Year 5 work, your learning this morning with me, your checkpoint? Then move on. So if you are moving on, you're going straight on to questions 5 to 8. And I've divided those up into step 2 and step 3 for you. Okay. If you haven't finished those steps, then do definitely pause before moving on. We're going to do some more learning together, so have your pencil ready, writing in your book. We have a fraction, 6/9. Here's our strip. What's it divided into? What do we know about the size of each of those sections? What does the 6 represent? So there's a strip of equal length. Two-thirds. So this is saying factors. So we've done factors. We usually have worked them out in pairs. So we're trying to, will this get us to 6? Well, if we were doing it as pairs, 1 times 6 is a good place to start. Then you go 2, it's an even number. 2 times 3. 3 times 2, 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, and we're back at 6. What are the factors of 9? Same principle. If you do them as pairs, 1 times 9. 2 times, well, it's an odd number, so that won't work. 3, well, 3 times 3, because 9 is a squared number. 4, no. 5, no. 6, 7, 8, and then we're back to 9. What are we seeing here? What would we call those? There we go. So these are the common factors. It wouldn't really work dividing it by 1. Why not? That's right, we just end up with 6. And if we divided 9 by 1, we just end up with 9. So the next common factor of 6 and 9 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. You could check that on a fraction wall if you can't visualize that. Simplify the fraction using the bar models. Pause the video and have a think. So we have a strip here and a strip here. They're both of equal length. How many in total? 16. Have a check. How many are highlighted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. Six-eighths. Why is that? Think about your factors. Think about your common factors. Okay. So we can simplify 6/8 further. Looking at a fraction wall, using the factors, whichever suits you. factors of 12, factors of 16. What's going to happen next? We're looking for common factors. So why are we looking at number 4? What is that? What would you term that? You might say that was the highest common factor. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, 16 divided by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Way, Tiny has been asked to simplify. Have a think. Is Tiny correct or is Tiny incorrect? Work it out and prove it either way, making a note of your reasoning. What's 35 divided by 5? What's 40 divided by 5? Because 5 is the highest common factor. If you did step 1, are you ready to try a few from step 2 and 3? Do you know, or are you now ready to try a few from step 2 or 3? So all the questions and marking station I've sent out on Dojo on PDF. Happy learning, year 6. So have a great day with your maths. Any questions, post them on Dojo. So a slightly longer video today, and hopefully that still leaves you a good 40 minutes or so for your own mathematics. Take care.